I am Robin Mayberry, for those who haven't met me yet, and I am a certified body talk practitioner. I've been in practice since 2008, also a massage therapist. I also do a bunch of other things, but the body talk and massage are my mainstays. And I am a board member for the Pacific Northwest Body Talk Association, and our aim is to help grow awareness of what body talk is and to help support other practitioners in our area, but we've also opened up internationally. So we've got people from all over because it's all moving online. So boundaries don't matter, but we are local for the things that do happen in person. So we can offer that. If you're nearby, we offer that for you. Anyway, I'm Robin Mayberry, and we're going to talk about your flexible business plan today. And we're just going to start with why. Why have a plan? I am a planner myself, but I'm not a rigid planner. So I've been kind of thinking about this topic for a while, and I don't want to be hypocritical because in two ways. One is that I'm kind of a planner, so I don't want to be hypocritical and send the impression that I'm a person that has it all. I don't do a bullet journal. I don't have it all broken down to these tiny little itty bitties. And I'm kind of get on myself about that. You could do better. And when I read or, encounter the work of other business people who talk about business, people talk about having a plan, and often it's in that context of like, have a 5-year plan and a 1-year plan and a quarterly plan and blah, blah, blah. And we're kind of talk about that. But the way that I do it is more have a direction. It's just my way. So I don't want to come across like I'm a super planner, because I'm not. But on the other hand, I don't want to come across like I never plan, because I do. I'm a person that has plans and lists, and like I am just need to have a certain amount of structure. Calendar. I live by my calendar. And in fact, that's what we're going to talk about. That's where my plan lives, is in my calendar. But I also like doing mind maps and things like that. So that's where I'm coming from. Longtime business owner. Oh, here's Vanessa. I thought Vanessa would be here. So I'm for a long time, I've had my own practice. And because I have found that it just makes sense to help guide the development of the practice. So this is my why. So I'm going to move, hang on, I'm going to move you guys just on my own screen, and I'm going to comment that I'm doing it. So why do you have a plan? Why even have this topic? Because it guides your choices. So when I'm deciding, like, I love to take classes. I'm just like, that's kind of one of my things. And I take all the classes that I take are business classes of something, like either I'm doing a body talk class or growing in some other body work or something like that. Or I'm taking classes on business. And so I want to know if when I'm like strengthening my information base around is in alignment with where I'm trying to go. So it guides my choices. What classes am I going to take? What offers am I going to start to develop? What materials do I want to create? All that kind of stuff. Like that's going to be in alignment with where do I want my business to go? So right now, where my business is going, my personal business, is it's becoming more fluid, more intuitive, and more inclusive of the fact that I'm also a visual artist. So I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and I'm a bodywork practitioner. And those all sort of intersect because my business reflects me, because I am a solopreneur. And we have talked about this in other presentations, the energy of the business and such and such like. And the energy of my business is moving into being something that's has a little bit more of a feminine flow, more right-brained, more incorporative of artistic practices. So that's where I'm going. So when I'm choosing what I want to create, what I want to learn more about, where I want to sort of put my attention, I know that. So I'm not going to double down on, something that's going to give me more of a structured 5-step plan, because that's not where I am right now. Where I am right now is really giving space for creative and intuitive unfolding. So that's just me. But I just say that to share with you, like, so because I know that, because I have a bit of a plan, It helps me decide where I'm going to put my resources, where I'm going to put my attention. So guides my choices. It's my attention. It sets my intentions. So this, I guess these two, setting the intentions and write it down, make it happen here, sort of are aiming in the same direction. I don't know if you've ever heard that expression, write it down, make it happen. There was a book that kind of circulated around for a while that went by that title. And in a nutshell, that turns out to be something that I have found to be true. If I write something down, it shows up in the world. So the other important reason to have a plan is that it does set your intentions and then also sets the energy. And those two things intersect. So when you write down, like, I would like to have a business that allows me a lot of freedom, that allows me a lot of expression, and that allows me to really be myself, for example. Now, that stuff is really vague and isn't going to necessarily show up in like the more structured way that I see people do business, but that's what's working for me right now. I don't want to lock it down. I want to be like, I want to know how I want to feel and bring that forward. And so my intention, again, just to share like where, as an example, my intention right now with my business is that I allow it to tell me where it's going. And my intention is that it feels like it wants to be expansive, but I don't even know what that means yet. Like, does it want more clients? Like, does my business want to, I don't want to work more hours. I know that. So where does it want to expand? Does it want to just bring in new ways of serving my clients? I don't know. But my intention is to see in 2025, my intention is to see what it wants to bring. And my intention is to integrate more opportunities for teaching and sharing and encouraging people around expressing themselves through visual art, through making things. So those are my intentions. And when I write it down, that makes it, that's kind of sets the energy. So I mean, I feel like it directs the energy. It sort of shapes the energy. When I was writing these little notes, I was like, I wanted to say collapses the probability waves because it's really, because then the universe starts to go, oh, okay, you want like more artistic, more intuitive, more fluid, more flavorful. Okay, that's what you want. So the why to have a plan is because I have a bit of a plan, a flexible, not locked in plan, but a little bit of a guide, then things can start coming to me that support that. So that's your why. Also, another why to have a plan is it makes you feel less crazy. It's just like, okay, I have a little bit idea what I'm doing. It's to run your own business is a little bit like running a team of navigating a team of horses. Like they sometimes kind of all want to go a different way, and having a plan, at least in your own mind, like this is what I'm trying to make happen here, it can just create a sense of cohesion in what you're doing. Like, this is the way I want to go. This is what I want to create. This is how much money I want to make. So we're going to talk about the 5 components that I have in a plan. Suggestions. Everything I say is a suggestion. I have no interest in being a guru and being like, Robin said to do it like this. My hope is that anything I say, that if it resonates with you and you go, yes, that works for me, that you incorporate it into your life. And if I say something that you're like, that does nothing for me, you don't have to bend it in there. Like I'm hoping to encourage you to find what works for you and to inspire you to trust that what works for you and you can go with it. So I have some suggestions on how to approach, how to think about your plan. So we've got 5 sets of questions, and I will also write these down. I'll probably put a little PDF together, something. But if you're watching this later on the YouTube, then that's why I just wanted to include them in these slides so you can pause and write them down and whatever. But these are jumping off places. So we start with like, why do you have a business? So we just talked about why do you have a plan? Why do you have a business? So now moving into the plan. So to do this work of planning, and it's the beginning of the year, you know, and we're still in that like new year kind of flavor. So now's a good time. It's part of the reason why we're doing it this month. Set a little time aside for yourself. Get a notebook out, light a candle. If you've got an altar, set your altar up. If you've got a sacred space, like create some space for yourself for, you know, an hour, maybe. Doesn't have to be crazy. You could go deeper, but most people I know, an hour's a lot. So you don't have to have tons and tons of time set aside, but make a little sacred space for yourself so that your unconscious, subconscious, intuitive, archetypal mind can sort of come up and start to inform what you're saying here. So some suggested questions is to start with, why do I have my business? Why does my business matter? And this can be really important because when inevitably you get to the place where it's just like, why am I even doing this? Because we all get those times when we're just exhausted and it feels like a lot. And, you know, and I mean, it's running your own consciousness medicine practice is an intense undertaking. So it's nice to have that sort of backup of like, why am I doing this? And you can write it down. Why are you doing this? You know, my business matters. You know, maybe this will be the last time I say, I'm going to share my perspective, and then you can see how all of this lands for you. My business matters because, frankly, I think that we're in this turning point, like an overlap of consciousness, where the way we used to do things in humankind before we had the updated information we have is coming to an end, and the way we're going to be doing things because we have updated consciousness on the planet is starting to bloom. And my business is working with people individually and in groups to help anchor the new consciousness. That's what I feel like I'm doing. One of the ways that I do that is to offer body talk sessions. And I think that that's an excellent way to help people integrate a new level of truth that didn't used to be on the planet and is on the planet now. And we are evolving rapidly together. So my business exists to help contribute to that consciousness, to establishing the new consciousness. I think it's, you know, we kind of talk about growth of consciousness, but it's not really growth. It's like we just had an evolutionary leap, and we are trying to collectively make sense of that. So my business is in place to help in whatever way comes through my little vessel on this earth to help us anchor that in, all of us together collectively. All, you know, we're a member of the entire planet. I think the whole planet is going through that. The planet as a whole and all the beings. So that's no small thing. So when I get sick of like the day-to-days of business and just dealing with the frustrations of it, then I go, oh yeah, right, but I'm here for this consciousness shift. And that's part of what I'm doing. So that's my why. My gifts and skills that I share in my business actually incorporates manual body work, which is, I'm a massage therapist, body talk, and under other modalities, the other things that I've studied under that sort of umbrella. And I'm an artist as well. So those are the gifts and skills that I share. And I share them with people individually, and I share them with groups like here, and I offer workshops. I just taught an access class yesterday. I offer art workshops. So those are the skills and gifts that I share. And it's all sort of under this like my hope is that I'm helping the people around me to get ever closer to this truth, just to let the stuff go that's not true, so that we can function more and more from a heart-centered truth. That's what I'm after. Am I perfect? No, but that's what the skills and gifts are that I bring to my business. So this is no ordinary business. I'm not just selling pencils here. Like this is my work in the world. And I've created my business as a way to support me so I can do my work in the world, which is what I am hoping you will be encouraged to do as well. And what does my business create for me? And my business, I live on it. So one of the things that it creates for me is income, and that's no small thing and something that belongs in your plan. We will discuss money directly, but don't be ashamed to say that your business creates your mortgage payment. You know what I mean? Your business is supposed to support you financially. That's what makes it a business, because otherwise it's a hobby, and that's fine. Hobbies are great, but it becomes a business because you need a money component. So it's okay if your business creates resources in abundance for you, because that's what it's supposed to do. So you are welcome to include that in your why. So for me, that is my part of my why, is that I need my business to it pays my bills, and I'm grateful for it. I'm very grateful for its help with that. And but for me, it also creates community. It creates a creative outlet. Uh, it creates creativity. Um, and it creates a space where I feel like I belong. I don't personally fit well in the world of employment. I don't do well with like someone else's rules. Um, I always think I'm gonna, and then I'm like, this is making me crazy. So it's been a long time actually since I've worked for somebody else, because I'm just not well suited to it. So my business creates my little place in the world for me. I've got my own little nest, and my business is like a key piece of that. It's like it legitimizes all the things that I do because it's my business. And in this culture, we like that. And, you know, what do you do for a living? And I don't want to say I just do widget widget pushing. No, I have my own practice. I have my own bodywork practice, I say to people. And I just feel like, you know, that like at least I know where I fit in the arc of society. And that's the thing my business does for me. So sit with your why, and then your vision. So your why is like, why does this business even exist? And then the vision is, what do I want it to do? So here it is. And what can we possibly do with it? And this is wish listing. This is just like open up space. You don't have to be like, well, how's that going to happen? Like when you're writing your little plan, and I wanted to show you my mind map, and it didn't work out. So, but I like to do mind mapping, and I do the center circle and with the different circles, and then the circles off the circles, because that's maybe because I have a strong right brain. But your vision, here's a circle, and make all kinds of circles off your circle. Like, what's your vision? Like, what do you want it to make? And again, may I encourage you, how much money, you're allowed, what do you want to create? Do you want to create a business? Do, would you like through your business to create enough income that you can, pay off a bill that's driving you crazy, or invest in a retreat that you want to go to, or get a better car, or, go on vacation with the family, blah, 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 blah. These things, like, that's real. Those are things that those are ways you want to engage with your life, and your business can help facilitate that. So what do you want to create? And how do you want your community to be improved because your business exists? Like, for example, I have an office in a little space downtown, and it's just a bunch of independent providers, and we all have full practices, so we don't usually like advertise or anything because we don't have to. But we did an open house just kind of for funsies in December. And I just felt so gratified by that. And it was totally a business thing. But we just opened the doors, and we had snacks, and we had little like demo sessions and stuff like that. And I just felt like it was such a warm event, and people connected that hadn't seen each other, and people got to know each other, and people got to ask questions, and people got to learn about what each of the four of us that work there, what we offer. And we did a bunch of like cross-pollinating. And it was just, I felt like a gift to the community. I really felt like this wasn't like an advertising thing. This was like a cool thing for everybody that came. That's the way I want to serve my community. Is I want to have open doors and stuff available for the people that need it, that are in my local community, that live near me, and in my online community, that know me through my online, like many of you are not in my immediate area, but you're in my community. How do I want to feel? I mean, I want to feel free. That is how I want to feel as the owner of my business. And that's something that's important for me to remember over and over, because business is such a masculine matrix, like business, that it can easily slide into being overly structured and rigid and heavy and full schedule, and I can't take any time off, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And the reality for me, and a reminder I have to give myself over and over, is that I want to feel like I can come and go. I mean, within reason, but I want to feel like I have time flexibility. Like I can decide where I want to put my energy when my energy drops, that I don't have a whole bunch of obligations that I got to keep plowing through, because that makes me crazy, because I have a fluctuating energy. It's just kind of the way I am. So I need my business to remember that and not overburden me with things that will then be heavy and sticky and hard to get out of and all that. No, I like to have um, I like to be light on my feet in my business. I like to keep it small. I like to keep it somewhat fluid. I'm booked out, usually 3 or 4 weeks at any given time, but I leave gaps in my schedule. So if I have to, like, if I just need to take a day off because of an appointment or something happens, that I can move people around. I hate being completely jammed and having to take all my remaining time to fill in if I need to take time away from my practice. Oh my God, I can't deal with it. So I know that. So I'm building that into my vision. Freedom. And where I'd like my business to take me this year is when I wrote that down, and I kind of like just sort of channel these things, right? And I was like, I actually want my business to physically take me some places this year. I want people to invite me to come and teach access in far-flung locales. So by the way, I'm an access trainer who travels. So if you would like a live access in your area and you think you can get 8 to 10 students in it, then reach out, because I want my business to actually take me to other places. But maybe your answer might be, you want it to take you into a more secure place, or you want it to take you into a place of more confidence, or you want it to take you into a place of greater health, or whatever. Where do you want it to take you? Because it's a vehicle. I love business. Our businesses are so ready to serve us and the world. Like that is what the energy of business is. It's like, great, what are we doing? Where are we going? It's like a sled dog, and you just got to tell it that's why we do a plan. So we can tell which direction we can tell it which direction to go. Okay, so here you are, you're in your quiet place, you're doing your planning, and we come to money. And because we are loving, generous, kind-hearted practitioners, and many of us are women, I always just take a little pause when we talk about money, because money is just, I like to talk about money, and we've got other YouTube videos about money, and we'll talk about money some more because it's so important. And it's also can be very laden with lots of beliefs and ideas and restrictions. So give yourself grace when you start to write about your money. You're allowed to want it, and you don't have to want all of it. Like there's a sweet spot for you. And this is what you're really bringing to it. Like I personally got very, very turned off with, that maybe it was just came across my radar, but there were several years of like 6-figure this and 8-figure that, and 10x your business, and just like these, like, I don't know, just numbers I didn't need really. Like, sure, people, don't you want to have a Winnebago, a little mini home so you can just drive? I don't know, whatever, like, yeah, sure, there's like plenty of cool things out there in the world, but I don't need that. I need to have enough that personally I need to know what is my enough so that I can pay all my bills without freaking out about it. So that's my enough number. I need to know what that number is. And my business, I'm happy to report, consistently delivers on that. I get paid enough through my business, even during times when I like barely work. And in December, I had to take because of where Christmas and New Year's were, and then my husband, his birthday is the week before Christmas, and he always wants to go do some like giant thing for his, anyway, I had to take a bunch of time off work. I didn't work that much in December, and I made the same amount of money that I always make. So because I told my business, I need to make, this is my number. And I was like, okay. So, but I set it. I set the number and told my business, this is how you do it. Like, I got to make at least this. Like, you can fool around, but I got to make at least this. That's my enough number. And it and it fluctuates depending on what's going on. Right now we still have a kid in college, but we also have, we have other sources coming in, and so it changes around. But it's helpful to know I need to know this has to be like my minimum. And it's helpful for me, and I'm going to share with you, to know like this is like as much as I need for maximum. So like if I'm making just personally like 2 or 3,000 more than what I need, I feel very abundant. Like that's a plenty for me. And beyond that, I've felt the pressure to be like, well, you got to keep growing. You got to, that's not enough. You should raise your rates. And I personally am just here to say, like, that's great if you want to do that. If I said that, I don't want to insult anybody, but I tried and it's not right for me. For me, I need an overflow number that's enough that I've got plenty to take care of my needs. And then I got some extra to share, to invest, to save, to buy some cool things, and it doesn't need to be a ton. And I don't want to put personally, this is me, I'm just sharing this is what my plan is. But I don't need to have like way more money than I need. It actually it's just sort of detracts from my life, truly, because it just becomes more to manage and deal with and think about than I actually like really have energetic space for. So my overflow number right now could all be different tomorrow. I could be like, oh my God, I woke up and realized I need to be a millionaire. So, and maybe I will. I'm going to leave that open. But right now, I just don't, that's not where I am in my life. I got most of my needs are basically taken care of. And I have most of the things I want to. So I'm sitting pretty. If I was in a different place in my life, maybe it would be different. And so maybe it's different for you. But where I am is my overflow number is manageable. So, but I know those numbers. Okay. I share all this stuff. Just, I really feel like when I'm listening in to someone else talk about their business, that it always helps me to know what someone's really thinking. I mean, what good does it do you for me to just go, well, it says in the books, this and that, so I'm sharing my experience. So, with the hope that it resonates for you. So, am I currently creating those numbers? That is an important thing to check in your plan because, especially early in the early years of your business, you may not be. Or like one of the gals that I work with just had some big life changes, and things just shifted around. She had to rethink her numbers. So she needed these numbers, but now she needs these numbers, and it's valuable to be like, all right, what is my business? Like, this is a good time to be like, what did it make all last year? And what I make by the month, I tend to think in months, what is that what I needed? And so it's just a good, like, just check the temperature, like, where are you at? And what are you willing to do? If you look and you're like, okay, I'm not even making my overflow number, or I'm sorry, I'm not making my enough number, or I'm only making my enough number and I'm sick of scraping by. I want to have more abundance, which I highly recommend. I highly, highly recommend. That's what we're after. It's freedom, fluidity, abundance, so that we can share ourselves. We don't want to just be like struggling along. And again, that doesn't have to be crazy, crazy numbers. You may find that that's very achievable. But if you want to make more money, then you probably have to do something. So, what are you willing to learn more about? What are you willing to try? Maybe you join a networking group. Maybe you make a new offer. Maybe you reach out to clients in a new way. We're going to talk about those two things as well. Maybe you restructure the way that you're investing in your business. Maybe you change your space. Like, there's things, you can interact. So what are you willing to try out? And that's this last bit is very brainstormy. Like, I would let your right brain roll on that. Like, okay, what are 10 things that you could just play with to see about creating more of a money flow in your business? And this is when you're writing your flexible plan, then this is a good place to write it. You want to think about next your client base, the people that you work with, and it's the body talk perspective, and I have found this to be true. that the universe brings you the perfect clients, even if you're like, really? That was the perfect, okay. Because it can sometimes bring you some challenging clients. But it will bring you the clients that are the match for your spiritual growth. And frankly, I think the business is a spiritual undertaking. So this absolutely the universe is going to use your practice as a way to build whatever lessons or experiences that you have decided that you want. So here's a good time to set the compass. Like, all right, who do I know that I really enjoy working with? And it's, it's just helpful to tune in. I used to, it's a little hard to articulate, but I used to enjoy, I kind of look for people that had more trauma going on. And I used to really enjoy like helping people through trauma because frankly, I was coming off of trauma and I was processing that. And I don't have as much of that anymore. Like there's always more and stuff like that, but I just don't have as much of a need inside myself to um to be mirrored by other people that are just going through tremendous things. So that's just not as it's just not as hot for me. And now I'm more interested when someone says, I'm they're looking for more spiritual growth and they know that what they're feeling in their body reflects what's going on in their mind and they want some help unwinding that. Like I'm like, I am your girl. Like sign me up. I can do like people who are, really struggling and really having had a hard time, but I get more excited now when someone's looking for essentially like support around their unfolding. Like that's what I'm into. So I know that. And so I write that down and that clarifies it for me. And then for the rest of the year, when I'm writing my emails and I'm creating my stuff and I'm deciding where I want to put my energy, it's like I am just looking now, my direction is just looking now more towards supporting people who are moving into the new consciousness, honestly. Like that's personally what I'm into. It's good to get clear how many clients you want to see. So if you're new in your practice, you might be seeing two and you have another job and you don't even know how this is going to all work. So this is very specific to where you are. And remember, it is flexible. If all of a sudden things boom, you get to think about this stuff over and over. You don't just have to do it once a year. You get to change your mind. It's your business. Personally, I've said this before, but I'm going to normalize this. I go bananas if I see more than 15 clients a week. And I have, I'm booked pretty far out right now, and I'm sure that I got a waiting list, and I'm sure people would be super happy if I would open up more time, but that is not where I'm at. Like I do more than that, and I am wanting to die. I am like waking up like, oh, I've got 6 people, I got 7 people today, I got no energy for it. Like, dear God, get me through this day. I don't want to feel like that. So, like at all, I don't want to bring that to my work. I don't want to feel like that in myself. So my knowing is that I like to not work with more than 15 clients a day. I prefer to not work with more than 5. I'll do 6 if I have to. It's a hard day. And uh, I tend to think in terms of days and weeks, but basically I end up with somewhere between 50 and 60 clients sessions a month. And that is what's working for me right now. And I'm going to put that in my plan. Like, that's what works for me right now. If something changed and I need to work more, if something changed, I need to work less, then I can do that. That is why I'm self-employed. But we're just setting the intention here. And then you always need new clients. Like I say, my practice is doing quite well right now. Like I'm just confident. I don't have to do very much, but you still have to keep like the fresh water moving through. And so it's important to think like, how am I going to connect with people who haven't heard of me yet or haven't heard of my work? And how am I going to be available to people who might need what I offer? So that's a question that I ask myself there. And for me, I I do email. I do events is really I follow up with email, but I connect with people through events. That tends to be the way how I get to know new people through expos, which we do here periodically, but Vanessa just sat in another one, bringing Body Talk to the World in Everett. Thank you. But that is a way that I meet new people and invite people to workshops, and then from workshops, often people become my clients is kind of the direction that I go. I like meet them out in the world, invite them to an event, meet them at a big event, invite them to a smaller event, and then they become clients is sort of a strong pathway for me. And then I have email to sort of keep in touch with people. And sometimes people forward or invite, stuff like that. I get referrals. And nurturing relationships with current clients is really important. Again, I do that a lot through email. But that's a place, that's a growth edge for me that I feel like I could do better. I used to send birthday cards and that kind of stuff, and kind of got ahead of me, so it became a bit much. But that's the thing to think about, like the people that you've seen, the people that you're seeing, like how do they know that you value them? Because that's a good way to feed the cycle of reciprocity. And one of the best ways to strengthen your client base is to connect with people you haven't seen in a while. So if you're still new, you practiced on people. I bet some of them you haven't talked to in a while. If you've been around for a couple of years, there's some people when you first went into practice, and maybe you're thinking, oh God, I didn't do very well or whatever. You know, you did your absolute best and you showed up and these people liked you, and it's, hey, it's worth a hello, especially if you are like wanting to grow. You know, it's just like, hey, just want to reach out. I haven't heard from you in a while. You can pull their file or their notes and just, checking in. How is the thus and such doing? I mean, it's just human. Humans like to hear from humans. And some of those people will be like, oh my gosh, you came just at the right time. And can I book with you? And some of them will be like, hey, I'm fine. And some of them won't answer you, but that's okay. It's worth keeping relationships alive because that's what humans are all about, is connecting with other humans. So I suggest when you're doing your little plan to throw that in there. How can I connect with people I haven't seen in a while? Because these people are important to you and to your business, and you're important to them. And the final thing for your little brainstorm, whether you do a mind map or you do a journal entry, or you pull tarot cards on this stuff, like however you want to do it. But the final category is, what are you offering? And of course, we're body talk practitioners, so there's a pretty good chance that you're offering body talk sessions. But you might want to offer, maybe you want to offer workshops. Maybe you want to coordinate some workshops. There's a lot of instructors looking for coordinators right now. I'll tell you, there's like a call for coordinators. So if you're interested in hosting body talk workshops, then that's a thing. That's an offer. That's an offer you make for your clients. You're like, hey, I don't teach this, but this person does. I'm going to bring them into town. That might be something you want to add in. You might want to add, just supplementary stuff. Like I also facilitate breathwork circles, and like I haven't done it for like a year now. But I do it periodically, and that might be something I offer again this year. I'm actually thinking about how I might want to do that. Blah, blah, blah. That's an offer. So there's your one-on-one sessions, but there's also other ways to connect with people, other ways to deliver your work. You can write a book, you can write a zine, you can make products, there's all kinds of stuff that you can create, put out in the world, and people exchange you money for it. So those are your offers. What are they now? It's good to just review. Like I can get a little out of hand. The reason I'm not offering breathwork right now is I was offering it monthly for a little while and it burned me out really fast. I was just like, that was too much. Quarterly is better for me. But there was a point where I was doing online stuff and monthly stuff and in-person stuff and just all kinds of stuff. So it's good to track that. Like, what do I got going on? Because it can get, cluttered, and maybe you want to pare that back. Do they relate? Is a good question to ask. Is there a way you can funnel it? Because that, I hate this kind of terminology. I really do, but I don't have a better word for it. The marketing funnel is a real thing, that it's a relationship. It's a series of relationship doorways, is really, if you've got things like I just mentioned, go to an expo, you meet a total stranger. That's the first doorway. They decide to come to your workshop with other strangers, but in a contained environment where they can sort of like just be there for, a half a day. Great. That's another doorway. Now they've gotten to know you a little bit better. Then you invite them into a one-on-one relationship. Now they really know you. Then they decide that they like you so much they want to work with you in a package. They want to buy a whole set of you. So it like works your way through. That's a funnel. If you've never heard that terminology, you give them the free thing and then they purchase a low cost thing and then they get into your whole program. Is a funnel in business parlance, if you haven't already heard that. It just feels so inhuman to me. I really hate even saying it, but another way to think of it is really humans need to get to know each other. So if your offers can be sort of lined up so that the most kind of hands-off, easiest entry thing is the thing that you lead with, like I've got a free offer. That's often what people do. Right now, like on my website, I have a free um, matrix session for your money life. RobinMayberry.com, by the way, if you want that, you just sign up and you get this free session. So something like that. And does it stack into something that's a little bit more investment on your part and their part? And does that stack into something that's more of a, now we're in a real relationship with each other? That's just something to look at. If you do a bunch of different things, can you line them up so that people have a natural progression? Because we, as humans, we like that. We just like, let me try that out. Oh, I kind of like that. Let's learn a little bit more. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's learn a little bit more. Just feels like that's easy on the nervous system. Instead of feeling like you're getting drug into something, you don't know who this person is and what's this about, and they're asking for a lot before you even know who they are. So stack your offers if you can. That's what I mean. Do my offers connect and can you stack them? That's what I mean by that. And do you want to bring anything in? Do you want to leave anything out? These are all thoughts. Thoughts to consider. And then last but not least, now you've got your map or your journal pages or your tarot spread or your whatever or maybe you've just done voice notes, whatever. You've thought about all these things. So then you want to pause and get back into your sort of intuitive self and just tune in and then just write down a few goals. And this is where SMART goals are a real thing. What is it? Oh my gosh. I just went back out of my head, but specific, measurable, and I forget, and time-based. So anyway, specific, measurable, time-based goals. There's an advantage to writing down actual goals like that because you know if you did it and you know where you're at with it. So I would say when it comes to the actual planning, this has all been prepped for the planning, everything I've said. And then when you actually get to planning, that you give yourself something specific. I would like to make $2,000 more each month, for example. Measurable is like, you will know if you did that or not. And time-based is each month. So therefore, you know if you did it or not. Do 3 to 5 of those. I want to have this many clients. I want to offer this thing at this time. I want to work this many hours, whatever it is. Write down a few. And then just take a little while. And here's what the flexible. It is a good idea to break them, to take those, like at the end of the year, I would like to be regularly seeing, 10 clients each week. Then you just sort of brainstorm, what would I need to do by the quarter to strengthen that? So maybe once a quarter you do an expo. Maybe once a quarter you do like a free clinic or something like that. Like once a quarter you do something that's going to move that along. Once a quarter you write like a little PDF and send it out to your list and with an offer. I don't know, whatever. I don't know. But once a quarter you do something to move towards that goal. And then out of those quarters, is there something you would need to do monthly? So you just kind of make the chunks a little more bite-sized so you don't end up at the end of the year like, oh, nothing ever happened. So you actually have to nudge this along. But the good news is once you have set the energy, once you've set the intention, once you've put your attention on what you're doing, then you're going to be carried along down the river. So it's not like you're going to have to drag some heavy thing, but also you want to know what your landmarks are. So write down some things you want to create in a measurable way, break them up into quarterly. I do quarterly, really. I don't like to think too much monthly because that just feels fast to me. but whatever works for you. And if you want, you can go down to a weekly or whatever. It just depends on what your system prefers. And then what I do is I put deadlines in my calendar. That's the calendar. I have my personal calendar and I have my work schedule calendar, and I put things in both of them. And it's like, this is when this has to happen. And I put reminders when I need to send emails, and I put like, this project needs to be done by this time, so that I can not be trying to hold it up here somewhere. So it's actually scheduled in. Like, oh, I need to make that's due then. So I need to be doing this, because otherwise 6 months will go by and I don't even realize it. Like that takes no time. I just made a little sample website for that office that I work out of, because we don't have one that kind of like has all of us. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna just make us a little website. It'll be no big deal. It'll take me an afternoon, because I just use Squarespace. And I got the little reminder from Square that my 6 months is up. I haven't touched it. And I was like, it is? Like, I just made that, because that's what happens. If you don't put it in your somewhere, you got to put it down, mark it, because otherwise the time just, and you're like, another year went by and I didn't grow my business and da da da. So the purpose of planning is to anchor where you want your business to be by the end of this year. And of course, knowing, first of all, this is a wild year anyway, but we never know what's going to happen over the course of a year. And we're not going to be all locked into it, and we're not going to make ourselves crazy, but it's just a guide. It just helps to direct you, your energies, and your business's energies. So that is where we're at. And we've got a little thank you, and this is a thank you from me, Robin Mayberry, robinmayberry.com, if you want to look up some of the things that I bring to the world. And it's also brought to you, of course, from the Pacific Northwest Body Talk Association, which we would love to have you as a member and join our energetic matrix in that way. And we're just grateful that you're here. Make sure you have signed up for our email list as well. And you can do all of that at pnwbodytalk.com. So thank you very much for tuning in.